Franklin Penetrate became 14th leader of the US All at Once of Clear Serenity 1853-1857. By seeking after the suggestions of Southern councils, Penetrate minus another Englander minus wanted to facilitate the divisions that drove ultimately to nationwide conflict. Franklin Penetrate became president during a period of obvious peacefulness. The US, by temperance of the split the difference of 1850, appeared to have endured its sectional tempest. By seeking after the proposals of Southern guides, Penetrate another Englander expected to forestall still one more flare-up of that tempest. Be that as it may, his arrangements, a long way from safeguarding quiet, rushed the disturbance of the association. Brought into the world in Hillsborough, New Hampshire, in 1804, Penetrate went to Bowdoin School. After graduation he concentrated on regulation, then entered legislative issues. At 24 he was chosen for the New Hampshire Council. After 2 years he turned into its speaker. During the 1830s he went to Washington, first as a delegate, then as a congressperson. Puncture, subsequent to serving in the Mexican conflict, was proposed by New Hampshire companions for the official designation in 1852. At the majority rule show, the representatives concurred effectively enough upon a stage swearing undeviating help of the split the difference of 1850 and aggression toward any endeavors to foment the subjection question. Be that as it may, they balloted multiple times and dispensed with every one of the notable competitors prior to designating Puncture a valid, surprisingly strong contender. Most likely in light of the fact that the leftists stood more immovably for the split the difference than the Whigs, and in light of the fact that Whig up-and-comer Gen Winfield Scott was suspect in the South. Pierce won with a limited edge of well-known votes 2 months before he got to work. He and his better half saw their 11-year-old child killed when their train was destroyed. Anguish-stricken, Penetrate entered the administration apprehensively depleted. In his debut he broadcasted a period of harmony and thriving at home, and life in relations with different countries. The US could need to gain extra belongings for its own security, he called attention to, and wouldn't be dissuaded by any meek premonitions of insidiousness. Penetrate had exclusively to make signals toward development to energize the fury of Northerners, who blamed him for going about as a feline's paw of Southerners anxious to broaden bondage into different regions. In this manner he stirred dread when he compelled extraordinary England to surrender its exceptional advantages along part of the focal American coast, and, surprisingly, more when he attempted to convince Spain to sell Cuba. Be that as it may, the most over-the-top brutal restoration of the tempest originated from the Kansas-Nebraska Act, which revoked the Missouri split the difference and resumed the subject of bondage in the West. This action, the workmanship of Congressperson Stephen A. Douglas, filled to some degree out of his longing to advance a railroad from Chicago to California through Nebraska. As of now Secretary of War Jefferson Davis, supporter of a Southern cross-country course, had convinced Penetrate to send James Gadsden to Mexico to purchase land for a Southern railroad. He bought the region presently including southern Arizona and part of southern New Mexico for $10.00 Douglas. Proposition to sort out western domains through which a railroad could run brought outrageous hardship. Douglas gave in his bills that the occupants of the new domains could conclude the bondage question for themselves. The outcome was a hurry into Kansas, as Southerners and Northerners competed for control of the domain. Shooting broke out, and draining Kansas turned into an introduction to the nationwide conflict. Toward the finish of his organization, Penetrate could guarantee a serene state of things in Kansas. Be that as it may, to his mistake, the leftists declined to renominate him, going to the less dubious Buchanan. Puncture got back to New Hampshire, passing on his replacement to confront the rising wrath of the sectional hurricane. He passed on in 1869.